One of the cops named in this incident is somebody that's in a viral video on this channel with over 1 million views on it.
You're right, Court. Step over there in the corner. You understand me?
Whoa, dude.
You're right, Court.
Hey,
Step
don't
back
touch
over
me,
there.
dude. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You can't
Step
come
back.
up and touch
You
me.
can go over there.
Call your
and record.
supervisor.
I ain't
What's your
calling
name and your
anybody.
badge number?
Go step over there and
What's your
record.
name and your badge number?
McIlvain 9066. Step over
How do you
there.
spell that? We are going to review the shooting death of Sergio Alvarez. And this happened in Phoenix and Guadalupe. There's problems with it. And it's just now coming to attention, I guess. I didn't even know that this happened until recently. Phoenix PD is known for killing people. If you weren't aware, Arizona ranks number 2 in police shooting deaths in America. Police shooting deaths. Like a lot of you folks, you live around the country, you know, we hear all this shit. Oh, it's bad in Chicago and LA and blah, 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 blah. It is. But Arizona's number 2. So this is the police shooting of Sergio Alvarez on May 28th, 2024, on, what is that, 10th Ave, 10th Street or something in Southern Ave, 10th Ave, 10th Street. Near Guadalupe. And this is supposedly over a bike light. And we're going to watch the critical incident briefing that the police put out first, because I want to show you how they do their cover-ups and how they paint this in the picture that they want, so none of the officers get in trouble.
This incident began in the area of 10th Street and Southern Avenue when 2 officers on patrol together stopped a man on a bicycle for a traffic violation. The officer riding in the passenger seat got out to contact the man. The man immediately became combative. The second officer, who was driving, came around his vehicle to help the first officer detain the man. During the struggle, the man pulled out a handgun and fired it, striking one of the officers in the leg. The other officer returned fire, hitting the man. The officer was able to get the man's gun away from him. Both officers' body-worn cameras are knocked off during the struggle.
Sounds simple, right? Sounds simple, right? No big deal. Cops stop him for a bike light. He pulls out a gun. He shoots the cops. The cops shoot him. Case closed. What's the problem? We'll get to it.
One of the cameras lands face down, only providing sound. The second officer's camera lands a few feet away and captures the incident. Here is a portion of the body-worn camera video.
Now, I do want to warn you, you're not going to see any shooting happen here. You are going to hear gunshots. There is nothing graphic being shown on the screen. So just FYI, that's not what you're going to see right now. Notice how this starts while they're already fighting.
Come on. Help me! Help me! Help me! Help me, please! What are you guys doing? On the ground. What I do to you? For what? I ain't done shit to you guys.
Get on the ground, dude.
Do I have a learner? What the fuck? What are you doing? Help me! Help me! Help me! Please, somebody help me! Help me! Help me! Help me, please! Hey, stop choking!
I'm not.
Stop choking me! Stop choking me!
Stop grabbing my hand.
Stop choking me!
You're not getting up.
Stop choking me! Stop choking me! Get out of me! Get out of me! Get out! Get out of me! Get out of me! Get out of me!
Stop.
Get out of me!
Stop grabbing my hand.
Get out of me! Stop it! I can't breathe! I can't breathe! Get out of me!
Put it down now.
Get out of me!
Put it on the radio, 999.
Ah!
Get on the ground now. on, son. Back away, dude. Back away. I got you.
Help me. Help me.
11 Mary.
Help
999.
me.
10 Street and Southern.
Help me. Ah. 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 Ah.
Wait, I got him. Where you hit? Where you hit? Hey, stop. Stop. You again.
Help me. Help me. I'll stop the fucking again. Stop.
Stop. On the ground.
Ah. Ah. Stop me.
Seems pretty straightforward, right? It's very not. So I'm going to read the article that I was sent, at least some of it, and paint a little bit of a picture here for you, because this isn't all what you think it is. In the early morning hours of his last day on Earth, Sergio was biking to the house where two of his kids lived in Phoenix. According to a police report, he was wearing a red shirt with Al Pacino as Scarface on the front. Phoenix police officers Peter De La Pena and Andrew Estrella stopped him near Southern Ave and 10th Street, allegedly because his bike was missing a required light. However, the police report revealed that the police officers told a detective investigating the shooting that they knew a few drug houses in the area, and Alvarez did not have a bike light on, so they decided to stop and talk to him. This is a common theme in Arizona, and a lot of you that have been around for a while, you know that that's what Mesa does and that's what Phoenix does. Mesa, Phoenix, and Tempe have this thing about people on bikes with backpacks or lights. A pretextual stop is one in which a police officer identifies an objective violation of a traffic law, and the officer may lawfully stop a motorist, even if the officer's actual intention is to use the stop to investigate a hunch that by itself would not amount to reasonable suspicion or probable cause. And the problem with pretextual stops is it has to be legitimate. You know what I mean? You have to actually have something in your windshield that's blocking your view or some whatever bullshit the traffic law is that's pretextual that they're stopping you for. So in Arizona, cops can't stop you for not wearing your seatbelt, but they can stop you for a cracked windshield and then issue you a ticket for not wearing your seatbelt. Does that make sense? That's how that works. How it just said. Something they may not normally be able to stop you for is what they use these things to stop you for. So it's not the same in every state. So be clear on that. In Arizona, police cannot stop you for not wearing a seatbelt. That's not a reason to pull you over in Arizona. But they can stop you for cracking your windshield or a license plate light that's out or your tail light's out or some shit like that, and then issue you a ticket for your cracked windshield. So that's what they do in Arizona, and they use this bike light bullshit. And the bike light bullshit is usually to look for drugs, warrants, or whatever else they can sniff up because they're bored. And the bike light things, these are all not crimes. These are not defined as crimes in Arizona. So what they're doing in Arizona is they're going to have big problems when some lawyers pull their heads out of their asses in this state and start suing people, because everything that they're doing is a problem. The two officers spoke to Sergio through a window of their Chevy Tahoe, the police report said. They asked him his name. De La Pena told an investigator that Alvarez provided a name of Sergio something, which De La Pena incorrectly assumed to be a fake name. In part, based on what they perceived to be Sergio's shiftiness and unwillingness to identify himself, the two officers exited their vehicle and told Sergio they were stopping him for a bike infraction. At least, that's what the police report says. If the two officers did in fact tell Sergio for the reason of the stop, it's not evident in the body cam footage released by the department as part of the critical incident briefing. After his killing, the video starts in the heat of the action, with Estrella rushing out of the driver's side of the Tahoe to the opposite side where De La Pena could be seen pushing Sergio up against the car. When the audio begins to play after a delay, Sergio can be heard screaming, "What are you guys doing?" Sergio asked, only to be told that he's under arrest and to get on the ground. "For what? I haven't done shit to you guys," Sergio said. "Do I have warrants? Or what the fuck?" The officers didn't reply. The rest of what happened is barely visible. Police said one officer lost his body camera at the start of the interaction, while the other lost it when Sergio was wrestled to the ground. From that point, all that can be seen is a jostle of bodies in one corner of the frame. After the shooting, both officers told investigators that Estrella was on top of a face-down Sergio, while De La Pena was wrestling with Sergio's right hand. Though not much can be seen in the body cam footage, much can be heard. Sergio continued to scream for help and told officers to get off of him and to stop choking him. "I'm not," one officer replied. "Stop grabbing my hand," the officer said. "I can't breathe," Sergio said, his voice muffled. Then about 80 seconds after the body cam footage began, right after Sergio shifts his weight onto one hip, Estrella told investigators a shot was fired. Speaking to an investigator from the hospital after the shooting, Estrella said it sounded like a balloon loudly popping. "He shot me," he said twice. Estrella said twice. Speaking to investigators afterward, Officer De La Pena said he saw a gun in Sergio's left hand, which Estrella said earlier had been extended and empty above his body. "Put it down," De La Pena ordered Estrella to step back and radioed for assistance, then told investigators he put the muzzle of his service weapon to Sergio's back and fired, point blank. De La Pena said he fired 2 shots, though the medical examiner report said he shot 3 times, in the shoulder, the jaw, and in the neck. "Stop or I'm going to shoot you again," the officer De La Pena commanded. Sergio continued to moan and scream. At the end of the video provided by officers, he again asked officers, "Why did you stop me?" The officers did not reply. Records indicate that De La Pena was busy trying to give aid to Estrella and let Sergio walk away because he had dropped the gun and knew the officers were responding. Okay, after they shot him, the other officer was providing aid for the officer that got shot, and the dude that they just shot got up and walked away. Security camera footage from a nearby building obtained by Sergio's family shows much of what happened next. The footage shows that Sergio stumbled away after he was shot. He appeared to be in a stupor when a squad car pulled up. He raised his arms. No weapon was visible in his hands, just a cell phone, according to the police report. And this is where the interesting part of this comes in, that all of you have seen. Sergeant Brent McIlvaine walked over and sent Sergio to the ground with a forceful kick. McIlvaine told investigators that he activated his body cam while driving, though no footage from it was included in the police department's briefing. The department said it is still working on producing that footage in response to New Times. This is an article by Phoenix New Times, the Zionist-controlled media that I'm reading right here. 2 more cops joined McIlvaine, kicking and pummeling Sergio for about 30 seconds before ultimately handcuffing him, after they had already shot him 3 times. Then, for roughly 7 to 10 minutes, it's difficult to tell based on the grainy security camera footage, 3 or 4 officers stood over Sergio's squirming body. One officer told investigators that he quickly started rendering aid to Sergio by stuffing his gunshot wounds, though it's difficult to tell from the security footage exactly what happened. As time passed, more officers arrived on scene, walking around the car that were swarming. After a few minutes, Alvarez's body stopped moving. At that point, the footage shows an officer performing CPR on Sergio for about a minute before paramedics arrived. Brent McIlvaine, who remembers that name? Who remembers Brent McIlvaine that shows up and Spartan kicks some dude that just got shot 3 times? Who remembers Brent? Do we remember this guy?
You can step back from our stop, dude. Right on the stream, they got this one going.
Hey, you're right, Ford. Step over there in the corner. You understand me?
What?
You're right, Court. Step over there in the corner. You understand me?
Whoa, dude.
You're right, Court.
Hey,
Step
don't
back
touch
over
me,
there.
dude. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You can't
Step
come
back.
up and touch
you
me.
can go over there.
Call your
and record.
supervisor.
I
What's your
call
name and your
anybody.
badge number?
Go step over there and
What's your
record.
name and your badge number?
McIlvain 9066. Step over
How do
there.
you spell that? Brent McIlvain. This is the superhero that got out of his squad car and Spartan kicked a man that the Phoenix Police Department had just shot 3 times. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, yeah, Chris, but he shot one of the officers, right? He shot one of the officers. But was he justified in shooting the cops? That's the question that we need to ask ourselves right here. Was he justified in shooting the cops? Because there is a time when you are justified in using self-defense up until the point of taking their life. And a lot of you would quote some inappropriate case law that's not relevant. It is relevant, but the decisions have been changed. It's not what the case law was original. I think it's Plummer v. State and Bad Elk is the cases that I'm thinking of. Now, those are good, but the decisions have been reworked. They're not standing the way that they were written anymore. How they're written is not appropriate. The reality is cops can't use force against you unless they tell you you're under arrest or you're being detained. If these police officers got out of their vehicle or told this guy to just stop or for over a bike light, these are not extenuating circumstances. Mind you, they don't have to tell you you're under arrest all the time. There are extenuating circumstances when they're chasing somebody, when they're doing in a vehicle chase. You're under arrest. Yell that shit out the window. No, they don't have to do that. But in consensual encounters where they're just stopping you over a bike light or some stuff like that, they do have to tell you. They can't just grab you. And a lot of people don't understand this. And we're going to go over some case law so you understand what I'm talking about. And that's why I think they cut that part out. For those of you that are curious, that's why they cut the beginning of that out, because I don't think that they told him that he was under arrest. I don't think that the stop that they had was lawful. I think that they rolled up next to him, tried to have a conversation. They demanded his ID and he told them no. And then one cop gets out and probably grabs him. I'm just guessing because we don't have the footage and they're clearly not going to provide anything. But one cop just gets out and there is no, you're detained, you're under arrest. It's just a struggle at that point. That's not a lawful detainment. Those cops are using unlawful force. And if they're choking him and they're on top of him, they're using weapons and shit on him, he is justified to defend himself. 100% based on Arizona law and case law, Supreme Court case law and Ninth Circuit case law, which would be applicable to here in Arizona. Cops can just attack you. You have a right to defend yourself. This is not some popular shit they want me talking about. This is not some. This is why they don't like me and my channel, is because I understand these things and I'm going to tell them to you. In Arizona, you have a right to defend yourself using the equal or lesser force in Arizona. And if your life is being threatened, you're allowed to defend yourself. This is a stand your ground state in Arizona. You have no obligation to flee in the state of Arizona. Not from a police officer, not from a criminal. That's why when you just saw McIlvain's video and he got his hands smacked for touching me, nothing happened because I was exercising my right to defend myself. Don't fucking touch me or I'm going to use equal or lesser force, just like I did. He touched me, I smacked his hand. Equal force. So let's just assume that I'm right and the cops didn't properly detain him. He would have absolutely been justified to shoot those officers. And in response, if they shot him and they killed him, they're all guilty of murder. They're all accomplices to murder. Do you understand why this is a cover-up? Why this shit's important right here? They're all accomplices to murder. They murdered this dude. They didn't lawfully detain him, and then they shot him when he defended himself. That's why they're not showing the rest of the video. That's why they conveniently didn't include the security footage that they have from the building that caught them Spartan kicking him afterwards. And they'll paint this picture. Oh, he pulled a gun out on the officers while they were trying to detain him. It's not that big of a deal. But that it is a big deal because they can't just do that. They can't just hop out of their car and be like, oh, you're missing a light. Give me your ID. No. There is a procedure and a proper way of doing it. And let me point you to the case of Sewell versus Chisler out of Mesa, Arizona. And this is a case that happened in 2018, I believe, but it was settled in 2022 or 2023 for millions of dollars. Let's go over how. And then I'm going to read you a legal breakdown summary. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm still going to give you a legal breakdown. In the case of Randy Sewell, the jury acquitted him of resisting arrest because the prosecution failed to prove that the initial detention was the lawfulness of the detention was undermined by the officer's failure to clearly inform Sewell that he was being detained, arrested, or under investigation for a crime. Key legal concepts: voluntary encounter versus investigative detention. Police can ask questions of anyone in public during a voluntary consensual encounter without implicating the Fourth Amendment. During this time, the person is free to walk away and does not have to answer questions. A Terry stop, an investigative detention, also an encounter becomes a detention or seizure when a reasonable person would no longer feel free to leave. For this to be lawful, police must have reasonable suspicion that criminal activity is afoot. Requirement to identify oneself. Under Arizona law and a 2004 Supreme Court ruling, a person is legally required to identify themselves to police only during a lawful investigatory detention. How the concept applies to Sewell's case. Sewell initially refusal to identify was lawful. When police were called to the restaurant regarding an unruly patient, they asked Sewell for his identification to place his name on a trespass log, which is not a thing. However, at this point, the encounter was still a consensual one. Since the officers did not communicate that he was being detained for a crime, Sewell had the legal right to refuse to identify and walk away. Do you understand this? This is a case of a man that was asked to leave a bar here in Arizona. He didn't leave. He was waiting for a ride. The cops showed up and started to demand his identification and didn't tell him he was detained or under arrest. And then when he said no, then they started to get physical with him. There was an altercation that ensued, and Officer Chisler fucking shot Randy in the ass, basically, in his leg, shot him. And then they arrested him. They charged him with aggravated assault on a police officer. They charged him with all kinds of shit. All of those charges were dismissed, and he won millions of dollars because the police have to tell you that you are under arrest or you're detained unless there is extenuating circumstances. A bike light, being trespassed, these are not extenuating circumstances. Do you understand what I'm saying? If Randy would have pulled out a gun and shot all those cops that were assaulting him and trying to kill him, he would have fucking walked away with millions of dollars and no prison time. Well, he probably would have done a little bit of time, but he would have walked away a free man and no prison time. That's what all you need to understand is cops can't just walk up to you and grab you and be like, no. Why do you think I smack their hands when they touch me? Why do you think I do that? I'm willing to escalate it too. If they fucking keep doing some shit, I'll fight them. I fucking told him I would, dude. I'm not joking because I understand how this shit works. I got arrested for aggravated assault on a police officer for doing this exactly what I'm telling you. This idiot put me in the back of his cop car for 2 hours until a supervisor showed up. And I told the supervisor, I said, you better go check that security camera right there because it's going to show him pushing me. And that means he's the aggressor, so I have every right to defend myself, especially when I wasn't under arrest or I wasn't detained for any crime. Within 30 minutes of her going in there and looking at the security camera, I was out of that cop car and out of handcuffs because that's the fucking law. That cop was so pissed that he couldn't get me charged with aggravated assault on a police officer because I smacked the fuck out of his hand and hurt his little feelings. Grande Johnson. Well, you're a fucking idiot, bro. It's a moving violation. We don't even have the beginning of the video, you fucking retard. That's one of them fucking James Freeman or Bow faggots right there. Get out of here. Not a lawyer, but I know more about this shit than you do. That's why I work for a lawyer and you don't. Shut the fuck up and suck my nuts. You need lawyers. I work for one. Bitch. I'm 100% right about what I'm saying right now. I'd be willing to bet my fucking freedom on it. And I fucking have. I went to I was 1 day away from trial for, what was it, 1 count of aggravated assault on a police officer. And I made them drop the fucking felony all the way down to a misdemeanor. And they didn't get shit out of me because They didn't tell me I was under arrest or that I was detained. Fucking clowns. This is a problem, this police shit. While trying to point this shit out when there's bigger problems going on. This is a problem, but there's bigger problems going on. Once they get rid of the First Amendment, then you can't go out and even do this anymore. Should we do a live stream of all the times that I smacked cops' hands and did not get arrested? Well, except for the one time I did get arrested, but I got let go. I have evidence of me exercising self-defense here in Arizona when these fuckers touch me. They like to come up and put their hands on me. Every cop that's put their hands on me has got their fucking hands smacked like a child. Nothing scary about going into a building. Shut the fuck up with that lame ass shit. There is nothing scary about going into a building. You know what is scary though? Cop watching. Ain't nobody ever wrote a letter apologizing for First Amendment auditing, but motherfuckers have written apology letters for cop watching because they got scared than a little bitch. That's why I don't do it anymore. I'm just saying. So the takeaways of this, when they feed you these little stories, it's quite convenient how initiation of all of this is left out. This is a bigger problem. You cannot resist arrest, folks. Don't mistake anything that I'm saying for thinking that you can resist arrest, because you can't resist arrest. That's not a thing. There are some states where you can, but I wouldn't if I was you. Don't resist arrest kind of shit, you know what I mean? But it's important that they tell you you're under arrest, you're being detained. I'm setting up another live stream right now, so if you guys are interested in sticking around and going to another live stream where I'm gonna watch private videos that are on the DirectE channel and add some extra context to them that you haven't seen. If you are interested in such things. So you would abuse your authority if I exercise my right. Whatever. I don't personally care what you sentence me to. I'm appealing everything today, so it's going to freeze whatever you sentence me to, and we're just going to kick it to a higher court. Because clearly this one is corrupt.
They turning our communities to hot blocks. Yeah, they got Glocks, handcuffs, and badges. They swearing that they hot shots. They want to lock us and throw away the stop. Watch, you know, DirectD will show you how to cop. Watch, cop, watch. Record them when a cop stops. And ignore the pig chatter when a cop talks. You don't need a top-notch camera, just a cop watch. You gotta know your rights or you lose them. So we cop, watch.